Hello everyone, I am Siddharthan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I would like to give you a detailed tutorial on Matplotlib library in Python. Okay, so as you can see here, I have mentioned here that Matplotlib is very useful for making plots and graphs. Okay, so often in machine learning and data science, we will deal with immense amount of data, and it is not possible to derive meaning from this data by just looking at this raw data. But when we plot this data in plots and graphs, it gives us important insights from the data. Okay, so this is where Matplotlib library comes into picture. So in this video, I'll explain you detailedly about various functions and plots that we can make in Matplotlib library. Okay, so before getting into the video, I'll just give you a quick introduction about my channel. So this is my YouTube channel, and here I'm making a hands-on machine learning course with Python. So you can see the introduction video here. So here I have mentioned the course curriculum. So you can see about the videos which I'm going to post in the future. So I will be posting 3 videos per week. 2 videos will be on Monday evening and Wednesday evening, and these videos will be in the course order. And Friday, I will be posting one machine learning project every week. Okay, so you can download the course curriculum from here. So it contains all the details, and you can also join my Telegram group where I will post regular updates about my videos. Okay, so I'll give the link for my Telegram group in this video. So you can go to this playlist here. So currently we are in the third module. So this is my machine learning course. So in the first module, I have explained about all the machine learning basics like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, etc. So in the second module, I have made videos on Python basics. Okay, so you will find videos on all the basic things you need to know in Python programming. Okay, so this is the module now we are currently working on. So in this module, I have already posted 2 videos. So these 2 videos are NumPy tutorial and Pandas tutorial. Okay, so and then we have machine learning project videos. So I will be posting project videos every Friday, as I have told you before. And now we are currently in this third module. So subscribe to my channel and stay connected and follow this course. Okay, so now get into this today's video. So this environment is called as Google Collaboratory. So if you are new to Google Collaboratory, and if you haven't know, like if you don't know how to use it, you can check out my Google Collaboratory basics video. So it will be in this second module. So as you can see here, in this 2.1, I have explained how you can access Google Collaboratory and how you can use it. Okay, so it basically runs Python programs. Okay, so now let's get into Matplotlib. Okay, so first of all, let's see how we can import Matplotlib library. So if you put hash in your code, it means like you are writing some comment about your code. Okay, so it's always important and essential to write comments about your code of what you're trying to do. So it helps a third person to see your code and understand what you're trying to do. Okay, so now we are going to import. So importing Matplotlib library. Okay, so import matplotlib.pyplot. Okay, so pyplot as plt. So pyplot is nothing but Python plot. So I'm just instead of using this matplotlib.pyplot, I just want to use it in a short form. So that's why I've imported it as plt. So it is the general convention in Python. So we import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Okay, so now you can run this. So you can run this particular cell by pressing shift plus enter. So it will run this code and it will automatically goes to the next cell. Okay, so as I told you earlier, Matplotlib is useful for making plots, but we need data for plotting, right? So when we are working on machine learning projects, we will have the data set which we will use to plot graphs. So now let's take some random values. So for that we need NumPy library. So I have already made a tutorial on NumPy library, so you can also check that one if you are new to NumPy. So import NumPy to get data for our plots. Okay, so import NumPy as NP. So the general convention of importing NumPy is NP. Okay, so let's import NumPy as NP. Now we are going to get some data. Okay, so let's say that x is equal to, so let's get some values for x and let's also get some values for y. So let's say that x is equal to np.linspace. Okay, so this particular linspace function is present in this NumPy library. So as you can see here, I have imported it as NP. So I'm using this linspace function in NumPy library, and in this I'm going to mention 0, 10, 100. Okay, so what happens is it gets equally spaced values between 0 and 10. Okay, and how many values it takes? It takes 100 values, so we will get evenly spaced 100 values that lie between 0 and 10. Okay, so that's why I'm using this linspace function, and so we will have 100 values in X. Okay, so now I'll create Y, and now what is this Y is? So Y is the sign. Okay, so sign means like we have read about this in trigonometry, right? So np dot sine X, so this will this will take X as the angle, and it will find the sine value for all those angles. Okay, so np dot sine is the function that gives us sine value of this particular angle. Okay, so let's also take Z. So Z, let's take that it is cosine value of X. Okay, so X is the values between 0 and 10, so evenly spaced 100 values, and Y is the sine value of those 100 values, and Z is the cos value of all those 100 values. Okay, so let's run this. So press shift plus enter. Now let's print X, Y, and Z. So I'll show you how these values are. So we will get evenly spaced floating point values. So totally we will have 100 values here. So this is the values of X. Okay, so now let's try to print Y. Print Y. So this will give the sine value of all these values. Okay, so these are the sine values. Okay, so you can also print Z similarly. So Z is nothing but the cosine values. As you can see here, it is np dot cos, it is cosine value. Okay, so now let's try to plot this. Okay, so I'll make a text here. So plotting the data. So as you would have guessed by now that if we plot X and Y, we will get a sine curve, and if we plot X and Z, we will get a cos wave. Okay, so here we will get a sine wave, and here we will get a cos wave. So let's do that. So we are going to build a sine wave. So what you need to do is, so as we have seen that we have imported this matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, and this PLT is what we are going to use to make plots. So I'll mention it here, PLT dot figure. Okay, so this will create a empty plot, a empty figure. Okay, so and in that figure I want to plot two values, X and Y. Okay, so X are values between 0 and 100, and Y is the sine value of all those values. Okay, so this will plot the graph of X and Y, and you need to mention this function plt.show. So this will print our plot. So I'll run this. Okay, so there is some error in this. So plt.figure X comma Y. Okay, so we should not use figure, so it's plt.plot. Okay, so plt.plot xy plt.show. So as you can see here, we have got a sine wave because X is all these values between 0 and 10, and this Y is nothing but sine value of all these values. So if we don't mention what kind of plot we want, so it will give us a line plot. So this is a line, right? So all the points will be plotted, and it will be joined by a line. So we will get a sine wave because Y is nothing but the sine value of X. Now let's similarly build a cosine wave. So sorry, cosine wave, it's the same function, which is plt.plot. The only difference is that now we are going to plot X and Z, because Z is the cosine value of X. So again mention plt.show. Okay, as you can see here, now we got a cosine wave. Okay, so this is how you can get some values for X and Y or Z, and you can plot those values using Matplotlib library. Okay, so now if you see this graph, it is not complete, right? So this graph does not have any title. It doesn't it tells us that what is this x-axis, and it does not tell what is this y-axis. Now we can also add x label, y label, and title to our graph, or to our plot. Okay, so let me explain you how you can do that. So adding title, x-axis, and y-axis labels. Okay, so let's again plot the sine wave, which is X and Y. So plt dot plot. So mention X comma Y and plt dot X label. So this X label function will help us to give a X label value. So I want the X label to be angle, because X is nothing but the value of angles, right? So we are finding the sine value of all these angles. So X label, let it be angle, and plt dot y label is the function to name our y-axis. So y label, let it be sine value, and let's name our plot as sine wave. Okay, so plt dot title. So this title function helps us to give a title to our graph. So this title is sine wave. Okay, so now it's the same, plt dot show. So let's run this. As you can see here, we have plotted this sine wave, but in this case we have x label which tells us that it is angle, and y-axis nothing but sine value, and the title of this plot is sine wave. So you can similarly change the title, x label and y label, anything you want. Okay, so this is how you can give names for the x-axis, y-axis and title for the plot. Okay, so now we have successfully plotted sine wave and cosine wave. Now let me tell you how you can plot a parabola. Okay, so parabola, let's take x as np dot linspace. So linspace is the function which gives us numbers between particular range. Okay, so I want in this case the numbers between -10 and +10, and I want 20 values. Okay, so this will give us 20 equally spaced values between -10 and +10. Okay, and let's say that y is equal to x into 2. So this means x power 2 or x square. Okay, so this will give us a parabola curve. Okay, so let's plot this. Plt dot plot and x comma y plt dot show. Okay, so I'll run this. As you can see here, this gives us a parabola. So this is how you can construct a parabola, and this is the equation for it. So similarly, you can give x label and y label and title to this graph when you are practicing it. Okay, so now let me tell you how you can. So this is a line plot, right? So as I have told you earlier, if you don't mention what kind of line you want, it will just take the default value as line. Okay, so now I'll tell you how you can plot this with dots and other symbols. Okay, so now let's plot this same parabola. So let this x and y values be the same values. So you can also print the x and y values and see. So now I'm going to plot it with a different symbols. So plt dot plot, and I want to plot x and y, and I want to plot this in red color, and I want to use the plus symbol. Okay, so plt dot show. So as you can see here, it will plot the parabola, but in this case it will plot with a plus symbol as I have mentioned here. So R represents red color. Okay, so it plots with red colored plus symbol. So you can also use other symbols as well. So for example, plt dot plot x comma y, and in the quotes let me put G and dot. So it means it will plot with dot symbol. Okay, and the dots will be green in color. So plt dot show. So as you can see here, now the values are plotted in green dots. So this is how you can plot graphs with different symbols and colors. There is also another thing. So let's do another thing as well. So plt dot plot x comma y comma let's say r and x. So this will plot the values with the x mark. So plt dot show, this is nothing but rx. So that means x symbol and r, which means red color. So there are similarly various symbols and colors. So you can refer Matplotlib documentation. Just you can just search Matplotlib documentation in Google. So it will take you their official site where you will see the explanation for all their functions and other things as well. So there you can see what are the different colors and different symbols you can use for these particular plots. Okay, so now I'll tell you how you can plot multiple graphs or multiple lines in a single graph. So let me take x as np dot in space. Now let's take the values from -5 to +5, and in this case I want 50 values. Okay, so I want values from -5 to +5 and 50 equally spaced values, and I'm going to plot. So in the before cases, so previously we have seen, so we will get a value for x and we will get a value for y, right? So you can just do it in a simple way by this. So you can see here plt dot plot. Let's say in the first graph I want x value and sine value of x, so I can mention it here instead of just putting y and giving the np dot sine. So I can just give it here. So np dot sine x, this will plot x and sine of x. Okay, and I want the graph to be g, and let's put hyphen here. So it means it will this represents green color line. Okay, a normal line. Okay, so this is what we will get. So this is a sine wave, and in that graph I want to plot another thing as well. So plt dot plot, I want to plot x and np dot cos. Okay, cos, and in this case I want a red color dotted line. So by mentioning two icon here, so it will give us a dotted line graph. So plt dot show. So now let's see what we are getting. As you can see here, we have two graphs in this particular plot. So we have made a straight, solid line using this green color, and we have dotted line using our using this np dot cos function. Okay, so this is how you can plot multiple lines in a particular or in a single plot. Okay, so now let me explain you another type of plot. So this is bar plot. Okay, so bar plot is also very important in data science and machine learning. So it will give us several insights. So you can also watch my project videos where I have implemented these bar graphs in different projects. So now we are going to see about bar plot. So let's create a variable as figure. So figure is equal to plt dot figure. So this will create a empty plot, and in that empty plot we will do several things. So mention ax. So ax represents axis. So figure, so mention this variable we have used, which is figure. So in this figure we are storing this plot. Okay, so figure dot add axis 0 comma 0 1 comma 1. So what is this is, this will enclose our plot in a rectangle. So this first two zeros represents the coordinate. So 0 and 0 means, so it's the origin, and 1 and 1 represents the height and width of the rectangle. So it is generally, it's usually to mention the area in which we want to have our plot. Okay, so in this case we have used this plot function, so we don't need to mention those axes, but here we are just creating an empty figure and adding access to it. So that's why we are adding this access function here. So as I have told you earlier, 0 and 0 is origin, and 1 and 1 comma 1 represents the width and height of this plot which we want. Okay, so I'll create another variable called as languages. Okay, so languages is equal to, let's take 5 languages. So let's say English, and let the second language be French, and let's take Spanish and Latin, and finally German. So we took 5 languages. Okay, so let's say that we have a group of people, and in that group people speak 5 languages. Okay, so let's say that there are about 100 people, and now in that 100 people, some number of people speak English, French, and a few people speak Spanish, Latin, and German. Okay, so let's give some random numbers for these languages, people speaking languages. So people, so I'll create another variable as list. So this is basically a list. So list will be enclosed in square bracket. So let's create another list. So let's say that there are totally 100 people who are speaking English, and let's say that 50 people are speaking French, and 150 people speaking Spanish, 40 people speaking Latin, and just some random numbers. Let's say 70 people are speaking German. So as you can see here, I have enclosed these values in quotes, because you need to mention, sorry, you need to enclose the strings or the text in quotes, but you don't need to enclose the numbers or integers in the quotes. Okay, so we have created two lists. One is languages and the another one is people. So we have 100 people speaking English, 50 people speaking French, and other things as well. Okay, so now let's plot this in a bar graph and see what we can do. So ax dot bar, I want to plot languages and people. Okay, so I'll give x label as, let's say x label is languages. So let me put all in caps. languages, and I want y label to be number of people, right? So it's number of people. Okay, so now we can print this graph using plt.show. Okay, so I'll run this. So this will put all these values in bar graph. So this tells us which language is spoken more and which language is the second and third, those kind of things. Okay, so when you have 100 or more data points, it is very useful to plot all those values in these kind of bar plots. Okay, so it tells us how many categories are there and how many people are there in such categories. Okay, so it helps us to visualize the magnitude of that particular value. Okay, so for Spanish it is huge, of course, so those kind of things. So in several cases in data science and machine learning, we use these bar graphs to understand about the data. Okay, so this is known as data visualization. So in data visualization we use several plots and analysis, and this is one of the important plots which we will use. Okay, so now let's discuss about another important plot, which is a pie chart. Okay, so pie chart is very useful to find the distribution of the data in the entire data set. Okay, so now we are going to build a pie chart, and let's create a figure as figure 1. So figure 1 is equal to plt.figure. So it is the same procedure. So plt.figure, and I'll create axis as, so it's figure 1 dot add axis. So it's the same axis, which is 0 comma 0 and 1 comma 1. So it is the general value used. You can also change and see it. So I'll just copy these values. So okay, so I'll paste this here. So now let's see how we can plot a pie chart. Okay, so you can use the function. So in ax or x we have use this add axis. So on that we are going to build a pie chart. Okay, so ax dot pie. So this will create a pie chart and mention what you want here. So people. So I want to build a pie chart containing the number of people. Okay, so people, and I want the labels to be languages. So labels is equal to languages, and there is another parameter here, so auto pct. So this is to tell the plot that how many floating or decimal points we need. So let's say that we need 1 point, so 1, which it gives us one floating point or one decimal value of after the decimal. Okay, so this is the syntax for it. Okay, so 1.1 plt dot show. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so we have did something wrong here. So ax dot people labels is equal to languages autopilot. So what is missing here? Figure 1 plt add axis x dot py people labels languages. Okay, so it's nothing, it's just we need to include a f here, so the floating point values. So let's run this now. So now we will get a pie chart containing various values. So we have all the language names as labels. So we have French, English, German, Latin, Spanish, etc. And it tells us the percentage of people in all those languages. So we can see here the Spanish is the language which is spoken more. So Spanish has about 36% of data. Okay, so this is how you can build a pie chart using Matplotlib. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so now let's build a scatter plot. So I'll make a text here as scatter plot. So let's take the x value as np dot in space. So let's take values from 0 to 10, and let's take 30 values, and let y be the sign value of x. So np dot sign and x, and z is equal to np dot cos x. Okay, now let's build a scatter plot. Let's declare it as figure 2. Figure 2 is equal to it's the same procedure, plt dot figure. Okay, Now we need to mention the axis. So ax is equal to figure 2 dot add axis, and let it be 0 comma 0 1 comma 1. Okay, so I just need to put a parenthesis here. Okay, so it's the same procedure until now. Now we need to mention scatter plot. Okay, so ax dot scatter. So scatter is the function which helps us to build a scatter plot. So in that mention x and y. Okay, so let the color be green. Okay, so this will plot this will plot a scatter plot in green color. Okay, so we are taking the two values x and y. So let's also plot another plot with x and z. Okay, so ax dot scatter, and I want x and z. Let's put color is equal to b. Plt dot show. So z will be plotted in blue color and y will be plotted in green color. Okay, so let's run this. So as you can see here, in a single graph, it has plotted a scatter plot. So this is a scatter plot where the data points will be scattered. So there won't be any line joining these points. So this is a scatter plot, and it is very useful in clustering applications. Okay, so this is how you can build a scatter plot. So in this plot, I have plotted two plots. So all the values of y are plotted in green color, and all the values of z are plotted in blue color. Okay, so this is how you can build a scatter plot. Now finally let's see how we can build a 3D plot. Okay, so we are going to build 3D scatter plot. So let's create the figure as figure 3, which is equal to plt dot figure. Okay, axis is equal to plt dot axis, and in that we need to, so before we have mentioned the axis as a rectangle, right? So rectangle is a 2D form, and now we want 3D form, right? So in plt dot axis we need to mention the projection is equal to 3D. So this will create a 3D plot. Let's take some values. So z is equal to, so 20. So I want a spiral shaped scatter plot. So I'll just use these values. So these values helps us to plot a spiral scatter plot. Okay, so 20 into np dot random. So I am just taking some random values. So random dot random. So this function in a numpy helps to, gives us random 100 random values. So you need to mention the number of values you want. So I want 100 values, hence I'm mentioning 100. Okay, so this will give us 100 random values in z. Okay, so and let's take x as np dot sign of z, and y is cost value of z. Okay, now we need to mention the plot we want. So we want a scatter plot. So x, y, z, and we also need to mention another parameter. Okay, so let's put, so you can see the description of the parameters here. Okay, so this is the thing which we are going to use now. So array or list, like list of colors. Okay, so x, y, z. So x are nothing but the x value, y value. So as this is a 3D plot, we are using three axes. So x, y, and z. Then c, I'll mention z, and c map. So I want the color map to be blue. So it will gives us a plot in blue shade. Okay, so you need to mention blues, and let's put plt dot show. Okay, so let's run this. So this will give us a 3D scatter plot. As you can see here that we got a spiral kind of a scatter plot here in a 3D projection. So this is how you can create 3D plots. So similarly, you can create line plots in 3D and other types of graphs as well. So That's all for this video. I hope you have understood the things we have covered. So I'll just give you a quick recap of what we have seen here. So we have seen that we can import the Matplotlib library as PLT, which is the general convention, and the Matplotlib library is used for making plots and graphs. And we imported this NumPy library for creating some data for our plots. So while we are working in data science and machine learning projects, we will plot the data in our data set. Okay. So then using this linspace function, we got some 100 values between 0 and 10. So and we have found the sine value and cos value of them. And then we have plotted this sine wave and cosine wave using plt.plot. Okay. And then we have seen how we can give x label, y label and title for our plots. And then we have seen how we can build a parabola curve. And then we have seen how we can plot some graphs with different symbols and different colors. And we have also seen how we can plot multiple graphs in a single place. And we have also seen about bar plots, and then we have discussed how we can build a pie chart, and then a scatter plot with multiple graphs, and then we have finally discussed about the important 3D scatter plot. Okay, so these are some important plots that we have in Python. Okay, so in the next video let's discuss about Seaborn. So Seaborn is also another library for making plots and graphs, and that video will be published on Wednesday evening. Okay, so thanks for watching. Subscribe and stay tuned. Bye.